Alright folks, how you doing? Brainsmasher back with you. I missed you. How the hell you doing? We're gonna go tonight back into the shelves in the E's. We are working our way through the E's, so I'm excited. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I have any housekeeping to do before we get into it. Gonna try and shoot a bunch of videos here. I've got 4 days off for the holidays, but they won't be without incident. So, whatever. What we're gonna be listening to is Cadavers in Pains. I've been in one pain before, but never more than one pain. It was pretty brutal. Norway's Cadaver later renamed themselves to Cadaver Inc. Mayhem used to open for these guys. There was a time when Norway was known for their death metal, mainly because of Cadaver. This release came out in 1992 and features Anders Auden on guitar, who also played on Celtic Frost's Monotheist record. Maybe another one or two. I hate Celtic Frost, so that's just a little tidbit for you. Haven't put this on in a really long time. It is a lot weirder than I remembered it being. It's really proggy, I guess. Found this in a local used bin way back in the day. Came out on Earache and Relativity, so hope you like it. So last time we left off, we were EN, somewhere around there. I got these kind of out of order because I was kind of going through these, listening to some of them, so they're not exactly alphabetical, so I'm gonna keep you on your toes. But whatever, it's a stack at the end of the E's. So the first thing I've got here, just for the sake of going through everything, is a demo sent to me. I ordered something on Discogs, I think maybe 5 years ago or something, and somebody sent me this Imperious with The Burning Path. Yeah, just a 4-song CDR. I would have completely ignored this had the cover art not been kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And also the 5th song, Existence, is a cover of Thorns, and I really like Thorns' self-titled record from 2000 that this is from. The demo itself, though, is kind of a little bit too try-hardy for me, I guess. The drums are a little bit too high in the mix, and it's just kind of like fucking, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it earlier when I put it on, or whatever, but it's unremarkable. It's just a demo, so maybe these guys went on to do something a little bit better, but yeah, that's really all there is to say about that one. I believe the next one we're getting into is a little known band from England, Enchantment. These guys are fucking awesome, and I really want you to listen to this album. If Death Doom is something you're interested in, Dance the Marble Naked is what the album is called. I want to say I was just, YouTube was doing its autoplay shit 2 or 3 years ago, and this came on for some reason, and it fucking floored me. I want to say I kind of knew about this. It came out on Century Media in '94. I want to say I had seen this in catalogs and just kind of looked it over. I mean, there's really nothing remarkable about it visually, and no one ever talks about this band. So, I mean, it doesn't really have a whole lot going for it, but it is a fantastic, awesome release. The most obvious comparison would be My Dying Bride. They're from the UK. I think this was even recorded in Academy Studios. Yeah, Academy Studios. So, I mean, all the trappings are there and similarities with My Dying Bride. But I would say this is a little less gothic. This is maybe a lot more like Turn Loose the Swans, the names of the first couple of my name brides are escaping me right now, but Enchantment is really cool. The Angel in the Dark River, Trinity, good stuff. And if I remember correctly, Enchantment doesn't quite have as much like violins and stuff going on, but yeah, really good stuff. So next, we've got a band called The End. Relapse put this out. I don't imagine a lot of you would remember this band because they're kind of like to the side of metal. They aren't exactly a metal band. Their origins are, I don't really know a lot about the band, but just describing the album as I know it, the origins are probably hardcore. They kind of cut their teeth probably from the same kind of deal as Dillinger Escape Plan. And I think Relapse was probably trying to make another Dillinger Escape Plan when they put this record out. The album is called Transfer Trachea Reverberations from Point False Omniscient. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really dated kind of thing. Back in the early 2000s or so, I was in a band called Cannibal Horse, played with a bunch of younger kids who were still in high school, and by that time I was probably 23 or 24 or something. So we didn't have a whole lot of like musical overlap. So I kind of listened to some of the stuff that they were into, like the first Darkest Hour. We kind of agreed on that one. Like Pig Destroyer was kind of cool for like both of us back then. But I mean, those kids were into hardcore, and they kind of got into some metal, and some of their hardcore bands were playing hardcore, kind of like what The End is doing. So I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of overlap for bands that I was interested in and they were interested in. Mare, stuff like that, I really liked, but few and far between. But I really did like The End back in the day, and I actually put this on earlier tonight, and it is really fucking cool. It's just super dated. It's just not the kind of thing that I'm ever really in the mood to listen to very often. Daughters is another kind of band that I was really into. Their new record is fucking awesome. So yeah, that's The End. Check it out. It's really cool. It's just not the kind of thing that I think is really hot right now, and it hasn't been for 20 fucking years. I don't know what these guys ever went on to do after that, but they're super talented. Their drummer is really sick. I would say Cephalic Carnage, kind of some similarities there. So what else do we got here coming on? We got a big band, so I want to kind of hold on to that for the end. All right, let's do this. So, in keeping with all my other videos, I find a reason to tell you to subscribe to Justin Stubbs. This is his band. Well, him and Wayne's band. I also find reasons to talk about Wayne in most of my videos. And Coffin Nation. I really like Justin's videos where he talks about his own bands. So, I would definitely suggest that you go watch his videos on his band and Coffin Nation. But this is somewhere between Funeral Doom, somewhere between Death Doom. Justin really set out, I think, to fill a void, or a really niche void that was, I think, notably missing between those two genres, or two kind of niche areas. And not only does it really well and kind of scratches that itch that was there, it was like I kind of knew that kind of itch was there before I ever heard in Coffin Nation, but once I heard it, it was like, yes, that's it. It's super guttural and just funereal and just so I don't know, grim. And also not only did he scratch that itch with Wayne, but also managed to do it over the course of 4 or 5 albums now. I only have these 2. This is Oh Hell Shine in Thy Whited Sepulchres, and that was out on Self-Made God, and so is this one. This one is called Ritual Ascension Beyond Flesh. I don't listen to them as much as I ought to. It's kind of like background music to me. It's not the kind of thing where it's not all that encompassing, it's not all that enveloping. Unless I think if the mood struck me, I think it would really strike a chord for me. This isn't really the kind of thing that I ordinarily put on to just sink my head completely into, you know. I need to pick up, I think there's 2 albums after these 2. I'm kind of working up the gumption to send Justin a care package of stuff that I have doubles of. And so it might be cool to get other stuff that I need back. Anyways, that's the combination. Check it out. It is awesome. 2 guys that just I go way back with, especially Wayne. I have watched Wayne go from playing in a shitty porn grind band in his basement back in '98 to the next step, moving to Texas and playing in all those bands, and then moving to California and playing all those bands and stuff. It's just been, the guy never stops being creative. So next, let's get into, I picked this up recently. This band is called Anisum, and the album, I don't even know what language this would be in, but I think this band is American. I could be wrong. I'm kind of thinking maybe this might be Spanish? Italian? I don't know. This is kind of Lonnie's kind of thing. Really intricate, kind of atmospheric, post-black metal. There really isn't a whole lot of aggression here. It's mostly just atmosphere and nature kind of stuff. But I really did dig this. I listened to it, and I kind of wanted to get a copy of it, and found a copy of it used at Earwax, which I just found out is done. My favorite metal record store is gone forever. So bummed about that, but I will find other places to buy CDs. Don't you worry. So we save. No, let's get into this. Okay, Enslaved. Got a couple from Enslaved. The most recent one I've gotten from them is actually the first one. And it wasn't my introduction to Enslaved, and I've kind of always beat around the bush with this record. It is a really challenging listen, and I would say even their split with Emperor is still to this day challenging for me. And I just cannot conceptualize what they were really going for. I don't know if they really were actually trying consciously to step out of the norm from the beginning or what. But this record is really, really weird. Self-titled, originally came out on DSP, of course. This is, I don't know, obviously a reissue, but some weird kind of reissue. I don't know. So I'm kind of on the fence with this record. It is really, really strange. It's kind of charming. Some people who are like really into weird music like I am, this is their favorite Enslaved record. But I feel like those people are kind of missing out on some of the other records that these guys have done. So I don't really know where I stand on this record a whole lot. I just haven't listened to it a whole lot. I just think it's really, really weird, and I just can't imagine that being as young as they were when they put that album out, that they were intentfully being so bizarre for what their country mates and friends and bands they were doing splits with were also doing. It just seems like a fluke almost. But then we have fucking Frost. This record is amazing. I'm sure a lot of you know it. Of course, it's got the embossed jewel case or what have you. I should probably put this in a little baggy thing to protect it, just in case. But even though that's a pretty cool thing to look at, I always kind of thought that this should have been the album cover. But yeah, this is a great record. I wish I put it on more often than I do, really. I have been really meaning to put on Elt lately. Another great fucking awesome album. When I think of Enslaved, this is what I think of. In fact, even more Elt than Frost, or especially the debut for sure. I really, really think this album is good, and I've been meaning to check this out again. It's been a long time. It's just not a band that I put on very often, and to me, I wouldn't really necessarily always pigeonhole them as a typical or straight up Norwegian black metal band. They're a Viking band for sure, but they just don't sound all that Norwegian to me. I think Enslaved is just enslaved, and these records are just really where they're at. The only thing that ever bothered me with Elt is the snare sound, and really the drum sound overall is just kind of a little too in your face, and I kind of wish it was a little bit better mixed. That's one of those few Greek Holland albums that I would maybe change a little bit about. So then we have Blood Hymn. This is their Osmos debut, and I want to say this is the first album with Dirge Rep on drums. I want to say this record is a really mishmash, kind of sweet and sour kind of thing for me. There's some really, really killer moments on it, but then there's some really fucking terrible moments on it. Another one of these records that I think Peter Tägtgren ruined with generic production. So, I mean, honestly, I think all the personality that they would have had is just gone, because this album sounds like every other album that came out around this time. So yeah, there's some good stuff on it. There's some kind of not so good stuff on it. There's some really, really stupid riffs on it. It just kind of seems like an incohesive, incoherent kind of mishmash kind of record. I love that album cover. I think it's really killer. So, I mean, another thing that makes me think that that album was kind of a weird accident or just didn't live up to its potential is the fact that the follow-up to it, Mardrum, is fucking awesome. Beyond the Within. I really don't listen to this one very often, but every time I do, it fucking slays me. Beyond the fact that, again, Peter Tägtgren kind of fucked this one up. I think it sounds really boring and just soulless. Am I wrong? Did this actually come out after Blood Hymn, or I might be fucking that up? That just kind of goes to show I don't listen to Enslaved very, very much, or this one very much either. But man, buddy of mine put this on a couple of years ago out of the blue, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I had totally forgotten that record existed and was pretty good. So, I don't know, a lot of people might say that that's where Enslaved got weird, but I don't know, I kind of argue that they always kind of were weird in the beginning, but then maybe tried to kind of walk it back a little bit and then exploded. With Issa, I think there's one in between Mardrum and Issa, but is it Below the Lights? I think I'm missing Below the Lights. There are some moments with the weird kind of psychedelia Enslaved stuff that I have checked in with and have always kind of meant to maybe get a copy of or something, and thought it was all right, but I'm never gonna really spend like more than $8 to get one of their albums post Issa. I can't remember what this album sounds like, you know. It just never really does anything for me. I've checked in with Enslaved a couple of years ago with their Ritter album, I think it was. The one with like the hands on it or whatever. And I think I checked out their one from last year too. I want to say Chandler was talking about it, but it just doesn't click with me. I don't really know what it is. But that's enough poo-poo talking. Excuse me. I went to a show the other night. I bet you're thinking I'm sick because my voice is kind of fucked up, but I went to a show the other night and screamed my head off because it was a good time, and this local band, Dryad, played with Acid Leather, and it was fucking fun. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to more Dryad shows. So I screamed a lot, and my voice is just kind of shot. So next we've got Anephrines. This version is the self-released demo CDR version that Jory put out at first, and quickly Marty at Bind Room Productions picked up Anephrines and released this one, In the Hours Beneath is what it's called, with Nortis. This has a bonus track on it too, so if you got the demo off of his Bandcamp, this has a bonus track on it. And then he also put it on LP, but I don't think the LP has the bonus track on it. I might be mistaken. Don't quote me. Look it up yourself. Do some research and quit reading false news. So, Anephrines is another Lonnie metal band. If you don't know Lonnie that I'm talking about, it's classy metal Lonnie. And I don't know, bands like this, I think that I click with are kind of few and far between. There's where aggression exists in a lot of black metal, Ephemer's has passion, and where atmospheric moments would be in another black metal kind of band, this has just soaring beauty and passion in it. These songs have such a wide scope and breadth to them. It's just so enveloping and so just vast and imaginative. This is a really impressive band. Just a solo project, actually, and he puts to use the Superior Drummer, I think it is, one of those 2 drum programs that everybody uses. He does it really, really tastefully. He does everything himself. He's a brilliant, talented songwriter and performer. He even tours live with this stuff just himself on a guitar, and he pulls it off really, really, really damn well. This is an impressive band, Ephemer's, that you should be aware of. I look forward to meeting Jory one day. We've corresponded back and forth. He lives in Minnesota, and last time I was up there, he was camping, I want to say. So, closing it out with another poopy album. How about Entity with Cadaveric Necrogrind? It's been well, I've probably only played this album maybe 5 or 6 times since I bought it. It came out in the year 2002. Mercenary Music put this out. You don't see this a lot. Made in the USA. This, I don't remember what prompted me to buy this or whatever. I want to say maybe Wayne and I were into it for a minute. It's kind of grindy, but it's also kind of deathy. It's really satanic. I actually put this in a couple of weeks ago and took it out before the first song was over. It's kind of shitty. Cadaveric Necrogrind, yeah, that's that. Why go on? So that's it for getting toward the end of the E's, E-N-T. Enthroned, I think, would be next, but I don't have any Enthroned. I love watching you guys do like alphabetical stuff and like guessing what I think is going to be next. I'm a really good guesser. Anyways, we will see you next time. Check out some of this stuff. Check out Enchantment. Check out Ephemer's for sure. And maybe The End, if you never heard it. And Coffination also. Anyways, see you next time. Bye-bye.